Hello friends, Andy here for WhatCulture Wrestling, back with another one of our semi-regular runs through WWE's injury list, which, let's be honest, at any given time reads with the length of a bad airport novella. Now, as always, there are a whole bunch of men and women out on the sidelines at the moment, ranging from performance center recruits all the way up to the main event scene on the main roster, and they're all out for a variety of different reasons. We'll take a look at them in just a moment, but first, let's get a couple of notable exclusions out of the way. The knee injury that Becky Lynch is currently sporting on SmackDown is all kayfabe. It's just an angle, and while she has gone as far as wearing a cast in public to put the thing over, it is just that, to put the storyline over. And as far as Paige goes, while she technically is a currently injured WWE star, she's retired, so that would be a bit of a cheat entry. That leaves us with 18 absentees, and I've arranged them in a nice convenient list format just for you. Now, they're not ranked in any particular order, I just really like lists, more so than everything, apart from Gangrel and Gangrel. So let's blast through them. I'm Andy for WhatCulture Wrestling, and here are 18 injured WWE stars and when they're set to return. Number 18, Lars Sullivan. Now, this one technically isn't an injury, but it's a very severe situation and potentially one of the most worrying and troubling on our list. What we know is that Sullivan suffered an anxiety attack before a scheduled debut in a Raw Dark match. Unfortunately, he has since kind of gone off the grid since then, and nobody really knows what's going on. So our most recent update comes from January 28th, and on that day, the person who runs Lars's Twitter account, who only goes by the initials WC, posted the following information. And I'm just going to read this out to you. There has been a lot of speculation about Lars recently. It's true he went missing several weeks ago, and I was just able to contact him this morning. Lars wants everyone to know that he's in a good place and is sorry to everyone he has disappointed. Best, WC. Now, the Twitter account has since been set to private, which heaps further ambiguity on this troubling situation. Let's just hope that wherever Sullivan is, he's in a good place mentally. Expected return? Totally unknown. Number 17, TNo Sabbatle. This big muscly dude suffered a torn pectoral muscle back in May 2018, and he's been missing ever since. Now, what's interesting here is that his former tag team partner Riddick Moss, who is also in NXT, suffered a near identical injury soon after, but he has since returned to TV and indeed action a few months ago. Sabbatle is still on the sidelines, but given that he was initially prescribed with a 9-month recovery period, it's safe to say that he'll be back on our screens before long. Expected return? Imminent. Number 16, Dakota Kai. It felt like the affable Dakota Kai was finally building some momentum in NXT and NXT UK at the end of last year, but alas, the injury bug is a cruel, cruel mistress, and she tore her ACL. Kai underwent surgery in January 2019, but unfortunately, the injury turned out to be a lot worse than was first expected. However, injuries like this do tend to come with a 6-month recovery period. Expected return? Summer 2019. Number 15, Tegan Nox. One of the saddest injury stories of them all, Tegan Nox destroyed her knee in last year's Mae Young Classic when she was wrestling Rhea Ripley and suffered a complete freak accident. This came just a few short months after missing a full year of in-ring action after suffering similar knee problems in 2017 leading into 2018, and yeah, it's hard not to feel immensely sorry for her. So to give you an idea of the full extent of her knee problems, Nox suffered a torn ACL, a torn MCL, a torn LCL, a dislocated kneecap, and 2 torn meniscuses in the Mae Young Classic, and there's currently no timetable on her return. Expected return? Unknown. Number 14, Sin Cara. Absent from TV since August 2018, WWE's hardest and most notorious backstage shooter underwent knee surgery that month on a number of lingering and long-standing knee issues. He's already teasing his return on Twitter and other forms of social media, and there's talk that he might even be cleared to return already. Expected return? Imminent. Number 13, Dillinger. Poor old Ty was lucky enough to make television when he was healthy, let alone injured, so really, the broken hand that he suffered in October 2018 hasn't had that big an impact on his kayfabe fortunes on SmackDown. Now what's curious about this situation is that Ty recently went through all his social media accounts and removed every single reference to WWE. I don't necessarily know if that means anything, but he is expected to return anytime soon and has already been cleared. Expected return? Imminent. Number 12. Goldust. A few weeks ago there was actually an outside bet that Goldust's days of wrestling in WWE might actually have been over, as he was 49 years old, he's just had double knee surgery, and he's been linked with AEW. But fortunately that doesn't seem to be the case, as the beloved veteran was last evaluated towards the end of January and should be good to go anytime soon. Expected return? Whenever creative, quote unquote, has something for him. Number 11. Matt Hardy. This is a curious one because Matt actually recently claimed on Twitter that he'd been cleared to return and that he felt healthier than he had at any point throughout the past 20 years. But this is wrestling, guys like Hardy are always working, and he might just have done this to get people talking. Now it would be great to see him back, but given that reports last summer claimed his pelvis and lower spine were fusing together, we might be waiting a while yet. Expected return? Unknown. Number 10. Akam. Akam went down on a January 6th house show in Florida where he suffered an undisclosed knee issue. Now the full extent of his injury wasn't divulged, but Dave Meltzer has since reported that Akam would require a 2-month recovery period after undergoing surgery on the problematic joint, and he's just had surgery, so let's do the maths. Expected return? March or April. Number 9. Harper. My big bad bald brother Rowan returned to action at the Royal Rumble without the aid of his longtime tag partner Harper, and that's because the one with hair hasn't yet been cleared to return after undergoing wrist surgery last year. Harper of course took advantage of Rowan's torn bicep last summer and used the window of inactivity to get some much needed work done on his wrist. And while we don't have a precise return date for him yet, all reports indicate that he won't be gone for much longer. Expected return? Imminent. Number 8. Fandango. Another tag team wrestler currently stuck with nothing to do because his partner's injured is Tyler Breeze, who has been going it alone since July 2018, which was when Fandango was ruled out with a torn left labrum, which, if you recall, was the injury that cost Finn Balor the Universal title a couple of years ago. Now, Fandango was initially given a 6-month recovery period, and he has returned to training at the Performance Center, so all signs look good, and that was just a case of him getting cleared. Expected return within the next month. Number 7. Ember Moon. The former NXT Women's Champion's injury was only made clear last week when she announced it herself in a video uploaded to WWE's YouTube channel, and she noted that she has been working with a goosed arm for several weeks, including in the Royal Rumble match, and yes, goosed is a technical term. Now what's particularly impressive about this, and proof that Ember is indeed hard as nails, is that she actually lasted 50 goddamn minutes in that Royal Rumble, so hats off to her, but she's going to be out for a while. Expected return? Unknown, but it'll be a matter of months rather than weeks. Number 6. Jason Jordan. You've got to feel bad for Jason Jordan, who was really turning the corner as a deluded pseudo-heel slash babyface in early 2018, but he hasn't wrestled since last January. Now he's had neck surgery, but there have been all kinds of worrying reports about him losing sensation in his limbs, and yeah, unfortunately at the moment it just isn't looking too good for Mr. Jordan. WWE, to their credit, have at least had Jason working as a backstage producer in order to prepare him for the worst news. Of course, we hope that doesn't happen, but his career in the ring does hang in the balance. Expected return? Unknown, and maybe never. Number 5. Kevin Owens. Ever the worker, that cheeky scamp KO sent the rumour mill flying out of control just last week when he tweeted that him and Adam Cole had just worked a match at the WWE Performance Center, and he even gave himself a star rating. What a guy. But that doesn't actually mean he's returning. In a follow-up tweet, Owens would say that I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to see me for another few months. After all, the man himself did have double knee surgery in the fall, so it looks like all those return vignettes that aired on Raw in December were a little premature. Now, initial reports suggested that Owens would be out until WrestleMania 35. He might be healthy before then, but it's looking likely that WWE will just hold off, wrap up all the current season of programming, and give him a fresh start after Mania. Expected return, about 2 more months. Number 4. Sami Zayn. Zayn, like his buddy Kevin Owens, was written off WWE television after being bashed around by Big Bobby Lashley, but of course that was all kayfabe. Lashley didn't actually injure him. That would be kind of dodgy. He's not Nia Jax. Sami underwent double shoulder surgery in June 2018, having suffered 2 torn rotator cuffs. That sounds incredibly painful. And yeah, like Kevin, he did have those return vignettes in December, but like Kevin again, they were premature. Now, Zayn himself did say back in December that he was, quote, nowhere near ready to return, but there has been talk recently that he's been at the Performance Center working himself out, so maybe that return is closer than he let on. Now, it would be great to see him back, obviously, but we might need to stay patient for a little while longer. Expected return? Sometime around WrestleMania 35. Number 3. Seth Rollins. Now, there's a chance you didn't even know that Seth Rollins is actually working with a legitimate injury at the moment, but he is, and it's going to be a few weeks before we see him wrestle again. PostWrestling.com broke this news the other day. Rollins has been removed from live events, and while he will be on Raw, he'll be restricted to non-physical angles, and he'll solely be doing promo work. Now, while we don't have any specifics on the injury itself, it doesn't look like that WrestleMania 35 match with Brock Lesnar is in any kind of jeopardy, and it sounds like Rollins is going to make a swift return. Expected return within weeks. Number 2. Triple H. Papa Hunter messed himself up real bad while wrestling the Brothers of Destruction at Super Showdown back in November 2018, suffering a torn pectoral muscle during the brawl. He underwent successful surgery on November 8 and was given an unknown time frame for his return, but because he's Triple H and Triple H is a goddamn cyborg, he's already training for his comeback and his rehab is over. Now, the game is relatively early in his recovery training program, but who knows? Maybe that WrestleMania 35 with Batista that has been so heavily rumoured might actually happen after all. Expected return, possibly for WrestleMania 35. And at number 1, Roman Reigns. Now, obviously Roman Reigns' leukemia isn't an injury, it's a horrible, horrible, horrible disease, but there is some good news surrounding the big dog and how he's doing. Roman himself, as well as several of his peers, keep speaking positively about his recovery. He's already talking about a return to the ring, and he was recently well enough to film shirtless fight scenes for a new movie with The Rock. All of these things are very positive signs. Now, of course, nobody outside Roman's doctors can say with any degree of certainty when or if he'll be able to return to wrestling, but it's still encouraging nonetheless. Personally, I'm hoping he's healthy enough to make an appearance at WrestleMania 35. Can you imagine the pop after Seth Rollins wins the Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar and Roman comes down to congratulate his buddy? It might even make me cry, and I'm hard as hell. So there we have it, guys. That's every poor unfortunate soul currently sidelined in WWE. But go ahead and let us know what you think. Which of these returns are you most anticipating, and when do you think we'll see them back? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And as always, I've been Andy, and I'll see you later.